The planet is speaking, not with words, but with behaviors, with patterns, with pulses. And the question is simple: can you hear it? In the last 50 years, something in Earth's behavior changed dramatically, so fast that science struggled for decades to accept it. Today, I want to show you, visually, scientifically, and philosophically, the message the Earth is trying to send. If you stay until the end, you'll understand. This isn't about climate, it's about intelligence, and about the future of humanity. Over the next 60 minutes, I'll decode one of the most important signals in human history, the hockey stick, the graph that reveals not only warming, but a change in the planet's entire behavior. We'll examine 3 systems already reshaped by this shift: the oceans, the forests, and the power grids. Then I'll show you 3 practical signs that indicate whether your city is already inside this new global pattern. And at the end, I'll give you a personal action map, simple, clear, and usable. Before anything else, I need to show you something essential, something at the core of this entire episode. The Earth is not a dead object. It's a living system, complex, interdependent, and like any living system, it responds when pressured. The real question is, what kind of response are we witnessing right now? That's what we're going to decode. Picture a line almost perfectly stable for 1,000 years, and in the last 150, it shoots upward like the blade of a hockey stick. This is one of the most controversial and most solid graphs in climate science. It doesn't just show heat, it shows energy accumulating inside the Earth system. And accumulated energy doesn't only create heat, it creates instability. Most people think global warming is about temperature. It isn't. It's about energy entering the system faster than it leaves. When that imbalance happens, oceans absorb the excess heat. The atmosphere shifts its circulation, clouds reorganize, and the entire planet begins operating under a new dynamic. The graph is the symptom. The disease is acceleration. Complex systems can handle slow change, but when change accelerates, they enter chaotic regimes. That's what makes the hockey stick dangerous. It doesn't just show that something increased, it shows it increased too fast. Too fast for ecosystems, too fast for cities, too fast for us. Look across the last 1,000 years, the line is calm. But around 1850, it rises. In the 20th century, it spikes. And in the last 2 decades, it bends upward again. It's like a heartbeat entering fibrillation, a pulse losing its rhythm. A planet in acceleration sends signals. So today, the real question isn't, is the Earth warming? The question is, why did the planet's behavior change so fast? And what is the next step of this system? To answer, we need real examples. Places where the planet is already operating under this new logic. We begin with Earth's largest stabilizing force, the oceans. The oceans absorbed more than 90% of all excess planetary heat. That shifts currents, changes winds, and alters rainfall patterns. It's like slowly heating the circulatory system of a body. Currents become unpredictable, storms intensify. Cycles like El Niño and La Niña change behavior. Warm surface water stratifies. It blocks the upward flow of nutrients from the deep. Fish migrate. Food chains reorganize. Entire fishing regions partially collapse. This isn't theory, it's observed. Here's what this looks like in real life. Imagine a coastal community depending on a fish species that always arrived in June. Now it arrives in September, or not at all. That shifts income, jobs, food prices. A hockey stick graph becomes hunger. If the oceans are Earth's thermal circulatory system, the forests are its respiratory system. And that system has changed too. Forests are water machines. They evaporate, form clouds, pull moisture inland, sustain atmospheric rivers. When a forest dries weeks earlier than normal, the entire water cycle shifts with it. The Amazon doesn't send rain only to itself. It influences entire agricultural regions. When evapotranspiration drops, distant regions lose rainfall. Crops fail. This is where it gets real. Imagine a farmer who has planted in March for decades. Now he must plant in May or lose everything. That breaks supply chains, increases prices, and amplifies instability. A forest losing moisture becomes inflation. Now, the third system already transformed is ours, the electrical grid. Most power grids were designed for a stable climate, but now heat waves boost demand, droughts reduce hydropower, storms knock out transmission lines. The result? Cascade failures. Real-world example. A few hours without electricity is uncomfortable. A few days becomes dangerous. Water systems, hospitals, medication refrigeration, everything depends on power. When the grid collapses today, civilization trembles. Summarizing this section: ocean, forest, grid, 3 different systems. One signature: acceleration plus instability. Now let's bring this to your reality. If you want to know whether your city is already inside this new planetary dynamic, look for 3 signals anyone can identify. The first sign is simple: more extremes. Hotter days, storms out of season, rainfall in intense bursts instead of steady patterns. This is a system losing stability. Now imagine this: a neighborhood that never flooded, now floods twice a year. A summer once tolerable, now demands air conditioning. Small signs, big trends. The second signal is agricultural. Shifts in planting calendars, pests out of season, crops that once thrived now depend on irrigation. Agriculture reacts fast because it's sensitive. Here's what this looks like in real life. If a local farmer starts changing planting dates, the climate changed before we noticed. The third sign is simple: infrastructure failing more often. Power outages, dirty water, services breaking down that used to be stable. Meaning, cities are organisms. When they start failing in small, random ways, it's a sign the external system has changed. Now that you can identify the signals, let's move to solutions: technical, political, and personal. The first layer is technical: infrastructure designed for uncertainty. Microgrids, battery storage, permeable drainage, buildings engineered for extreme heat. This is where it becomes real. A city with microgrids reduces the risk of large-scale blackouts. That's redundancy. That's urban intelligence. The second layer is political: urban planning based on data. Incentives for clean energy, protection of forests, smart water management. Here's what this means. When a city maps high-risk areas and relocates families, lives are saved, and resources too. The third layer is cultural. How we use energy, water, and food shapes the complex system around us. Now imagine this: community-based energy programs build local resilience. Entire neighborhoods can operate even when the main grid fails. So why haven't we changed yet? 3 reasons: economic interests, short-term thinking, and denial. Ignoring costs now doesn't erase them, it multiplies them. The Earth doesn't speak, it responds, with patterns, with frequency, with ruptures. Here's what this means. Longer droughts, followed by explosive rain, followed by silence. That is a complete sentence in the planet's language of instability. Science translates numbers into meaning, but meaning into action is our responsibility. The question isn't, is the planet changing? The question is, how will you respond to what it's saying? You learned how to read the signals today. Now you must decide what to do with this knowledge. This isn't about saving the world. It's about preparing, strengthening your community, building resilience. Collective movements always start with small groups who understand what others don't. You're now one of them. The planet isn't against us. It's simply responding to what we do. And maybe, for the first time, the Earth isn't asking to be used, but to be heard. If this episode opened a new perspective for you, the next part is essential. Subscribe to Flux Intellectus, not for me, but because you're part of a minority that thinks on a planetary scale. And people like that need to stay connected. Like the video and comment. What signal have you noticed in your city? Your answer helps us map global perception. In the next episode, we dive into a scenario no one wants to imagine. What if the sun went dark for 24 hours? And what that reveals about our dependence on energy. The future isn't written, but the signals are being sent, and it's up to us to interpret them before they stop being signals and become consequences. Thank you for watching. Flux Intellectus, science, energy, and consciousness for the new planetary era.